Hello there, I'm Jorge Varela from thebuttonsmashers.com, and here's my review of Inside. So the short version of my review goes like this. I'm very happy to say that we have another Game of the Year contender on our hands. It's amazing how 2016 has been constantly surpassing my expectations with all of these great games. At first I thought it couldn't get any better than The Witness, but then Odin Sphere happened, and then Devil Daggers happened, and then Tokyo Mirage Session Sharp FE happened, and now we have Inside. This is an incredibly good game and a perfect follow-up to Playdead's Limbo. I know it sounds like I'm exaggerating, but if you're an avid gamer, I want to say that you seriously cannot die and leave this mortal coil without playing this game. Telling you anything about it would mean to spoil it, so trust me and just go play it. You can go ahead and listen to the long version of the review that I'm about to say right now, but before I do that, I want to give some credit. So the game footage that you are watching on screen is not actually my footage. This is some Xbox One gameplay from a YouTube channel called Games from Mars. So the gameplay footage comes courtesy of that channel. They have a full game walkthrough with no commentary if you want to go and see what the original video is all about. I wasn't capable of recording my own footage, so I'm using this instead, so thank you very much to that guy for having that video online. I'm only going to show maybe around 5 to 6 minutes of the very beginning of the game. I'm not going to show, and I'm not going to skip around from one thing to the other, because showing some stuff from later on is actually kind of spoilery kind of stuff, and I really want you guys to experience the game for yourself, because it really is that good. So I'm only going to show like a continuous like the first 5 or 6 minutes of the game so that no one's spoiled. So anyway, here we go. Despite the fact that I'm calling it the long version of the review, this will probably be one of the shortest reviews I've written so far, since going into any explicit detail on Inside will mean to spoil what I consider a 2-hour work of art in motion. It is truly mind-blowing how much Playdead, the company that created this game, has grown and improved over the span of 6 years. Back when Limbo first came out, it was one of the first independent titles to popularize the indie game and leave a huge mark in the industry, alongside other titles like Braid and Super Meat Boy. Now with Inside, they have completely outdone themselves in every way imaginable, setting a new standard for quality and storytelling for the independent game space. In other words, I really like Inside, and I'm gonna tell you why. If any of you have played Limbo before, then congratulations, you know how to play Inside. The game begins pretty much immediately in the forest as you control a small boy who is trying to escape an oppressive force that seems to be taking control of the populace. Like Limbo, you can only run, jump, and interact with objects in the environment, such as pushing things, moving levers, and climbing. You use these controls to explore a variety of different environments, all with different platforming and puzzle elements that end up coming back later. In addition, there is no loading in this game, so all of the different levels flow into each other like bread through butter. So if you feel like I'm just describing Limbo all over again, then yeah, I pretty much am. However, that doesn't mean that the experience is the same. Inside is an improvement from Limbo in the same way that Transistor is from Bastion. Both games look, feel, sound, and play in a similar fashion, but the experiences within them are completely different and absolutely worth exploring. A big difference from Limbo is that the world actually has color and depth, rather than the 2D silhouettes from the previous game. Here, it is very much a 2.5D environment, where you can see many things out into the distance of the background, but you are stuck moving left to right in the foreground. This, along with some incredible lighting and color, makes for some gorgeous visuals. Every single time I freeze-framed parts of the game footage from my video review, I felt like having those images as my desktop background or framing it on my wall. The sound is just as competent as the visuals. In terms of music, most of the game is in complete silence, or at least contains some very light drones of sound in the background. This gives all of the sound effects and Foley work their time to shine, with footsteps, animals, rain, machinery, and some other completely unexpected things later on. Of course, the lack of regimented music tracks isn't a bad thing at all. If anything, it adds to the experience, since the game is trying to communicate a somber, lonely, and suspenseful feeling throughout. They truly make you feel like you're stepping into places that have a lot of history behind them, similar to how Chell discovers the old remains of Aperture Science underground in Portal 2. Except here, no one is laughing. In other words, emotions alight as you explore all of these beautifully drab levels. You will often feel incredibly tiny as you meet up with these enormous levels full of machines, walls, sounds, and a very zoomed out camera that will make you feel even tinier. Everything in this game feels so deliberately designed and precisely calculated. But it also feels very natural, and the furthest it can ever be to feeling contrived or forced. This game is designed in a way that nothing is out of place. Literally every single pixel you see on the screen was placed there for a reason. Reasons that you may later figure out after playing through the game a second time or having a conversation about it with other people. This is very much the kind of game where you are going to come out of it asking a lot of questions, rather than getting an easy, clear-cut story. Since there is absolutely no voice dialogue or text to be seen, pretty much everything can be left to the audience's interpretation, which is exactly the kind of thing the legendary games, movies, and books are made of. At this point, I could talk about the puzzles, the mechanics, and a variety of story beats to help you get a better picture of what to expect, but I think that would be a disservice to the game. I hate to be vague, but this is really one of the best games I've played so far this year. It's the kind of game that people will write books about years down the line about what everything in it means and why other developers can learn from it. It is an absolute masterpiece of a video game that is only rivaled by the predecessor created by the same people. In a small moment of confession coming out of myself, I would like to disclose that I was supposed to play this game with the PC code that was given to me, but I was unable to launch the game at all on my machine, and I don't own an Xbox One either. Because of this, I had no choice but to watch a full playthrough of it online. I thought, nah, the controls are just like Limbo, how different can it be from just watching it? Well, way different it turns out. Not because of the controls, but the emotions that flow through you as a player when experiencing everything that happens in the game. Especially when talking about the last 30 completely what the hell, this is insane minutes of the game that'll make you want to ponder in silence for a while after playing it. I mean, at least that's what happened to me. I then later discovered a friend of mine who had a copy of the game on Xbox One, so I played it on with him, beating the whole thing in just one sitting. Believe me, it is not the same thing to watch it as it is to play it. Because of that, I really regret having watched that playthrough, because I feel that the impact the game would have had on me would have been so much more powerful if I had actually made everything happen myself with the controller in my hands, rather than letting my impatience get the best of me. In the end, everything will boil down to this. You have to play this game no matter what. It is incredibly good. Not only is it a good video game, but it is also an amazing work of art that can potentially be discussed by people that have never played a video game in their life before. Do yourself a favor and become part of this conversation. Make time in your schedule to dedicate 2 hours of playing this game in one sitting with headphones on in a quiet, dark room. You will not regret it. I guarantee that. Thank you very much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to give this video a like. And of course, you can go to our website, thebuttonsmasher.com. We do news, we do reviews, and if you're a fan of podcasts, then be sure to visit that site because we have a lot of them. All of that content is created by really fun people that love what they do, so we highly appreciate your support.